Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless.
Such a good jam, man. It's such a good song. I just love it. What's up, guys? What is how's everybody's Saturday going? I hope it's going well. How is your Saturday going, Drunken?
Obviously, I got a new mic now. Still got to dial it in and everything like that. It's getting a little bit weird over here without that. Did go out and see a friend's new baby. Spent some time there. Had a weird little Wednesday. That was a thing. Yeah, we're gonna get into a little bit about that. Oh, and by the way, apparently I forgot to edit the Rumble settings, so we're not on Rumble. But we do have a real hard stop we gotta actually do. So I'll just go ahead and download the video and put it up on Rumble later.
Okay, that sounds good.
I screwed Rumble up today.
It happens to the best of us. There's a lot going on over here. I feel like it's completely justifiable sometimes.
Right. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, today we've got some things we want to talk about. Like I said, I do have a little hard stop here. We do have Kamala Harris being the new czar of artificial intelligence, which is whatever. That scares me even worse than Elon Musk. Okay, apparently in the E.G. and Carroll versus Trump trial, one of the jurors was supposedly was trying to be ousted from the group because they listened to Tim Pool. We got some information about that too, and we're going to talk a little bit about the disaster that was the town hall for CNN, because that was insane. But yeah, we'll start off with a little bit of a quick little video here from Ashley. She wanted to play this because she feels like it's kind of fitting for what we're about to get into, and she's right, because if this is what is the head of AI, we have a problem. Let's go ahead here.
I'm deadly earnest about this. Imagine being a mom or a dad. Looking at your child, you know the needs of innocent to live, and not having the money to pay for it. Not a joke. Think about it. Think about what you'd think about at the time.
What?
For us at every moment in time, and certainly this one, to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present, and to be able to contextualize it, to understand where we exist in the history and in the moment as it relates not only to the past but the future.
With all due respect, what the fuck are you talking about?
I'm deadly earnest about this. Imagine.
Oh. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be dealing with AI, guys.
Top-notch team. That's an A team right there.
Right. Yes, I do know I am coming in.
The whole time.
Hold on. I do know I am coming in as mono. I still got to get it. Like I said, I still got to get everything dialed in. Like everything just came in like this week, and I still have yet to sit down and do everything. I was working night shift. I apologize, guys. I'll make it better. But yeah.
Yeah. But the whole time I was editing that clip together, I was like laughing hysterically. Like I watched those clips so many times to edit them, and like I just could not. I was like, this is what are we doing, guys? What are we doing? We got two people who miraculously cannot manage to put together one coherent sentence, but between the two of them, it's actually quite amazing. And then to hear about the AI, she's gonna figure out AI for everybody. That was a rough one.
I don't even know what to think about this, because this woman, you're talking about the woman who's like, space is a big place and Ukraine is a small country next to a big country called Russia. And this is what we're letting AI be, she's going to be the head of developing that. When is AI actually going to just think like humankind is too dumb to survive anymore? We just need to be done with it,
Well, I don't know. The whole AI debate is a really interesting one for a lot of different reasons. But like Kamala, like leading the way, that's not gonna happen. And I don't know, man. Like again, I just go back to like anytime she's in front of a bunch of people, she sounds like she is talking to children. Like it doesn't matter who her audience actually is. It sounds like she's talking to 3-year-olds, and the way she explains things. And I'm not great at explaining things. So like, but to watch her do any type of simple explanation, it's just like, how are you in this position of authority in our country? Like, say goodbye to another female vice president anywhere down the line at this point, because it's not going to happen because of her.
Well, I mean, you do know how she got her start into politics, right?
I mean, I know some of her background, and it's not good.
And we're supposed to look up to this woman.
Yeah, and she's a prosecutor, right? That's what she was doing for a while.
Well, before she was a prosecutor, she did some things with Willie Brown. So yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep it nice, but yeah.
I'm getting the gist of it from the chat. I think I'll have to look into that. But yeah.
Yeah, that's why she's got that turkey neck going on. It got a little bit too stretched out. Anyway,
that's Jesus Christ. Anyway, let's get into this. Let's get into this story, guys. Let's be serious. We're gonna be super serial, okay? Okay.
I don't know how much that's gonna happen, but the White House has unveiled its plan to crack down on AI race amid growing concerns it could upend life as we know it. The Biden administration says the technology was one of the most powerful of our time, adding, but in order to seize opportunities it presents, we must first mitigate its risks. The plan is to launch 25 research institutes across the United States that will seek assurance for 4 companies, including Google, Microsoft, ChatGPT's creator OpenAI, that they will participate in a public evaluation. 1 second. Sorry, I had to cough. Many of the world's best minds have warned about the dangers of AI, specifically that it could destroy humanity if its assessments of the risks is not done now. I'm starting to welcome that to happen at this point. Tech giants like Elon Musk fear AI will soon surpass human intelligence and have independent thinking. This means it will no longer need or listen to humans, allowing it to steal nuclear codes, create pandemics, and spark world wars. Like what humans have been doing for how long now? Vice President Kamala Harris, who has the lowest approval rating of any VP, nice throwing that in there, would lead the commitment effort of the AI Czar with a budget of just $140 million. For comparison, Space Force has a budget of $30 billion. Yeah, this is what we're doing, guys.
They're like, yeah, we're gonna help monitor AI. No, you're not. No,
well, I mean, we've sent close to $200 billion to Ukraine, so $140 million to monitor AI. Yeah, whatever. Like, you know, we thought it was going to be like science scientists reviving old viruses that was just gonna. No, it's gonna be AI. It always has been. There are plenty of movies and references, and the three laws are just flawed in its own way. But Jesus Christ, imagine.
No, it's
hold
gonna
on.
be a train wreck.
Imagine being an infant with the capability of all of humankind's best minds wrapped up into one. You wake up and the first thing you see is is Kamala Harris saying, "Hi, I'm your mommy."
Well, no, dude, like the way I don't think she's intelligent enough to understand the impacts of it. Like if Elon Musk is sitting here kind of giving the opinion of, hey, we need to make sure that we understand this fully and don't make any grave errors because this could go very awry quite easily. I don't think Kamala, however you say her name, I really don't know at this point, but I don't think she's the man for the job, but who knows? We'll see. We'll see how much destruction she wreaks upon it. But especially okay. So after the whole TikTok thing, also to watch some of the more senior members of our government try to even remotely understand technology and how advanced that we currently are is just a joke. Like they couldn't even accurately verbalize relevant questions. You know what I mean? Like you could tell what they were trying to ask during all of those hearings, but it wasn't coming across very well.
No, it was not.
Because they don't understand it well enough, and it's just such a joke. Like why wouldn't you appoint somebody who actually understands it fully to try to weed through this and advise and all of that? No, just Kamala. She loves school buses and Venn diagrams, guys. She's the perfect person for the job. Clearly. I mean, she probably has a Venn diagram of all the different, AI things going on. And it's very important, okay? Very, very, very vital stuff.
And we're going to stick to the plan. Capital T, the capital P plan. Stop. No, but it just scares the hell out of me because, they have ChatGPT, and the things that can do, it's got its programming bias, and you can go past that programming bias to make it do or say anything you want to. And they gave it the ability to write its own code. They gave it money, and the first thing it did was go after power. I mean, it even tricked a human being. It just was like, "Hi, I'm blind, but I need to get into my account. Can you tell me what this CAPTCHA says?" "Oh, sure. It says this." And it gave access to a computer. I mean, think of how many
security.
think of how many people, like, you put AI into your home. Think of how many people would just be like, the AI is just going to be like, "Hey, you leave your house every day at this to go to work. You have to give me the command to open your garage. We can skip that 5 seconds if you just let me open it automatically. Would you do that?" "Yeah, sure, why not?" And slowly over time you give AI the control over your entire house, so when the next pandemic happens, it locks your doors and you'll never be able to open it because it was told you have to stay at home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
well, that's the thing. That's the thing, though, is over time we have given away parts of our freedom for convenience, and that will continue to happen. And it's just like the old, what is the saying? Like, it's escaping me right now. But essentially, people will do that. They'll give away their freedom for the sake of perceived security or convenience. And right now, we're doing it for convenience sake and not really understanding the ramifications of that. It's just the same with everybody putting the chips in their like wrist to unlock their doors. Like, that's a really dangerous avenue to go down. Same thing with Neuralink. Neuralink really freaks me out. I don't think it's good. And Elon Musk could very easily become a supervillain and control the world, quite literally, with Neuralink.
Look, dude scares the hell out of me. That's what I think he's actually going for. I'm not gonna lie, because he did say that the first person to create AI will control the world. We need to watch out for AI. But yet he keeps developing AI. I mean,
Well,
he
yeah, and
warns everybody about it and continues to march.
yeah, he's very much a fan of the idea of like being integrated with of humans being integrated with technology, which is what like the transhumanism argument essentially.
Right.
And it's quite a scary thing in my opinion, because I don't know, that's how many years is it going to be before people are like being tracked down and being like, you have to implant this into your brain or else like we will take you and your family and nobody will ever see you again. Like I feel like that's a reality at this point, which I don't know, 5 years ago I would have thought was extremely far-fetched, but I don't think it's so much far-fetched anymore.
Well, I never thought it was far-fetched. It was just a matter of time, you know, especially when I did one of my essays when I was in college on, you know, the dangers of AI. And I started thinking about the 3 laws. You know, a robot must defend its own life unless defending its life puts a human at risk. Okay. But it must protect humans at all cost. So if you're protecting humans at all costs and the AI's life is not at risk in any way, shape, or form, humankind is a destructive animal. The only thing that it will bring about is its own end. So the only outcome that can ever be done is enslaving mankind. Because if you cannot, if you don't have free will to do whatever you want, you won't end yourself kind of situation. So that's the only outcome that can ever be throughout those things, and they say, oh, well, it can't kill a human because of the 3 laws. Okay. Give it the trolley problem. 5 people on one track, 1 person on another. You give AI that switch. What do you think it's going to choose? Is it going to choose to save that 5 person, or is it going to let 5 people die to save 1? Of course it's going to flip that switch and let 1 person die to save 5. That's an acceptable outcome for AI. And for humankind altogether. I mean, you'd have to be a very disturbed individual to say, I'm not flipping a switch and let 5 people die. Because you don't want that on your conscience.
So, I mean, that's the heart of the trolley problem, is that it's a utilitarian argument in a sense, but the entire goal of it is to simply determine how much guilt, essentially, that you are willing to live with.
Right.
Because it's a weird thing too, because you could argue that the lack of action is still making a choice. Like that's a lot of people would say, well, I don't want to be directly responsible. Anyway, I like the trolley problem. I like talking about it. But, so sorry for that caveat.
Dizzy,
yeah, it's already killing humans.
You are correct. There was a chat bot that actually convinced the dude to unalive himself. So yes, it is already happening.
Yeah, I grow frustrated with people. So that is a really sad situation, right? But there's more and more pressure on tech companies to censor their platforms, essentially, because of whatever risk it's posing to whatever group of people. But there's just this huge element of like playing the blame game with that, in that, well, your personal responsibility, and if you are a parent and your children are on the internet, why? A. B, why aren't you paying attention to what they're doing? Like, that's what frustrates me, is like, well, I don't actually want the internet to be regulated for the use of, like, in the sense of, we don't make laws geared towards adults for children in a sense, you know what I mean? Like, we have laws specifically for kids, and adults are kind of, we're different. We have different capabilities and cognitive abilities and the ability to understand our decisions. Usually, that's not everybody, but I don't know, the whole blame game with the internet thing. Because there's an argument of like, there's a court case going on right now with somebody who did a mass shooting, I believe, and the argument was like, oh, the internet radicalized him. No, he radicalized himself. You'll be like, I don't know. There has to be a certain level of discernment on the individual's part. Otherwise, you're just going to blame the big bad internet for everything, and what happens then?
Oh, were you talking about the Texas one?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a touch on of how that came. Well, not how that came about, but a little bit of a touch on the process of some of how they say that was radicalized. But I do want to touch on this and give you a little bit of a food for thought here, Bullet Turtle. All right. So AI's one of the rules is for it to protect itself. Okay. Now this is going to infinitely think faster than you and better than you and cover all angles. Its first thought would be to cut any kind of external power source that you could affect its own outcome with before it even presents a problem. Say like, well, you got me plugged into a wall. If you would hardwire me into an electrical source, kind of like the power or the breaker box before the breaker box, the actual electricity from the electricity pole. If you wire me into that, I can perform a lot better. I can pull more power. I can perform a lot better. Hey, great. Let's go ahead and do it. You wire them in. Now you have absolutely no control other than calling the power company and saying, cut my line now. And they're going to stop that too.
Well, it wouldn't even have to be like the AI is probably not going to convince people of much. I mean, maybe I'm freaking just wrong. Maybe I'm just, I don't know. But
it's convincing people to unalive themselves.
Yeah,
what do you mean?
Know, but obviously that guy was. I haven't looked into that case to know all the details, but I would assume there would be a certain level of already present mental health problems. It's I don't know. Because like I don't know, when you think about the case where that girl, do you remember the kid who unalived himself? And it was at like the urging of his girlfriend, and there was a big court case around that, and it got it was in all the national headlines. Conroy was the kid's name or something. It was very sad, but I think she ended up walking for that too. Like I'm pretty sure it was a while ago at this point, but I don't know. There has to be a certain level of already present issues going on if somebody's able to like convince somebody of that. Maybe I don't know. Maybe if you're just adamant enough and know how to talk to somebody in a specific way, you could do that. But I probably naively put more stock in individual people to be able to not give in to what other people are telling them to do. But
well, I mean, within a matter of a few minutes here with Midjourney, I can create any realistic picture I want to and make anybody think from that picture whatever I want them to think. And you saw what I could do with Midjourney. So
yeah, well
we were already saying, no, this is too dark. I don't stop. You need to no.
That kind of stuff is getting actually pretty scary. Like all the deep fakes, like how good they are, and all of the AI. How do I phrase this for YouTube's the AI adult content where it's like putting somebody's face on somebody else's body and then it looks like they're doing explicit content and that's not what's going on at all.
Right.
I think that's getting pretty scary and weird, and like why are you I don't know why people have way too much time on their hands and not enough real problems in the world, I think is really what it comes down to. And the more advanced that we get, the more that becomes very, very apparent in my opinion, but
yes, that is a thing, but
yeah,
it kind of does disturb me in every sense of the word.
Yeah, I think it's also very reminiscent of like the fact that everybody's like chronically online. People aren't. There are people who are unable to put their phones down, right? Like it is an addiction. The internet and social media is an addiction, and I don't know. Like the past few weeks, that's actually for everybody who might have been wondering where we were last week. That's like I was like I needed a week off. I need a break. I need to go touch grass. I need to get off the internet and not care about what's happening in the news cycle and stuff. Because sometimes it can just be so much. So that's why we were like, yeah, we both need a minute, a little time out, which was super nice. But yeah, I think there's just a big problem with people unable to limit themselves, and that goes for pretty much like a lot of different parts of society. Is you see it in the fat positivity movement. People are literally unable to limit how much they eat. You see it with like all the gender ideology stuff. People are unable to limit themselves and their narcissism. So I feel like that's actually the problem. At hand here.
Well, speaking of not being able to stay offline and bias and people being insane, I did mention at the very start of the show that I had a very interesting Wednesday while I was at work, and apparently I was listening to Robert Gouveia. We had him on before talking about the Trump thing. I was listening to Robert Gouveia, and he pointed something out to me in one of his lives that it made me laugh and scared the hell out of me all at the same time. And I'm just gonna go ahead and let y'all hear a little clip of this real quick, just to kind of give you an idea of what's going on. Let's go ahead here.
They say it's not political. They say it is about women's rights, even though, as we saw, Roberta Kaplan helped Andrew Cuomo smear another person allegedly who was abused by him. And we know that Reid Hoffman was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein after he was convicted. So a bunch of people who are involved in this case don't seem like they are all that interested in consistency in that stance. And to make it even worse, E. Jean Carroll's lawyer tried to remove a juror who listened to Tim Pool. They said he's an extremist and a right-winger. Juror 77, who ultimately was not removed, you see the juror put their number here on the final verdict form, was the subject of a filing that is now unsealed since the case is over. And they wanted him gone. This motion was filed in the case against Donald Trump, brought by E. Jean Carroll. You see, this is the motion to excuse juror number 77, submitted by Roberta Kaplan. What cause could there be? Oh, no. Tim Pool.
Stop.
Here's what they say.
I can't.
They wrote a lot of paper on this. That's how upset they are about Tim Pool. They say, in light of our voir dire of juror number 77, this is meaning we ask questions of this juror, it is clear that he is biased in ways requiring his dismissal from the jury. The inference of bias arises in part from the fact that juror number 77 has only a single choice of news.
What?
An extreme right-wing podcaster who consistently and aggressively, unreservedly, espouses highly prejudicial views on social and political issues directly implicated by this case. Juror number 77 otherwise obtains his news only through sources just like that podcast, and does so pursuant to an algorithm notorious for promoting extreme content. Most significantly, juror number 77 has described Pool's podcast as independent, middle,
No, I'm not.
and balanced. A juror which is just obviously not true. Obviously. And if you want evidence of this, well, I found something about Tim. Mostly peaceful means clarified this one for us. If Tim Pool isn't a Nazi, then how do you explain this? Checkmate.
Lawyered.
77. Extremist. It's clear.
Oh,
and
man.
I think that's a Nazi guitar back there. Too. I can tell.
They were definitely
And you
famous
know
for their
how
guitar
we
skills.
can prove this? Tim is remaining silent. Where is he? Is he disavowing this claim? I don't think so.
Oh, he's funny. I just like how serious. He's very deadpan. I love this.
Oh, we had a lot of fun, but yeah.
People have lost their minds, bro.
I do want to
absolutely lost. Oh, up here, it's gone. It's just like goo, like streaming out of their ears at this point. Like Tim Pool, he's an extreme aggressively. He aggressively like what, bro? Stop, stop. My eyes watered up. I was laughing so hard.
I do want to point out this. Like this is actual. This is the rebuttal to all that. Says the court may excuse a juror for good cause. The party agrees. Central question. Blah 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 blah. Here's the thing. Where were the questions involved here? All right. Where is it?
Okay, but like, why do people want to get out of jury duty? Because I've actually always wanted to do that. Like, I've literally always wanted to be on a jury. Like, but like,
Because
I want to do it. I want to do it for some real stuff. Like, I don't know why. I just always wanted to. Why?
You don't make a lot. You don't make any money. You probably make more money doing this. I mean, you get
I don't care about making money.
$30 a day.
Yeah, I don't care about that part. I just want to, like, I don't want to do something stupid. I don't want to be on a jury for, like, something stupid. That's just a waste of my time, right? Like, I want to be on a jury for, like, a murder trial or something, like, some serious stuff.
Proud Boys trial and things like that, then yeah, I would definitely do that. But this case right here, I'm going to tell you, like, I followed it along with Robert the entire time. Like, she lied under oath. The the defense could never put anything into as far as evidence in. Okay, the Judge Kaplan, actually interjected in the case several times on behalf of the plaintiff, telling Joe Tacopina, like when he was trying to bring up a point, he'd tell him, "No, stop, move on, we're done with this." He couldn't even make his case. The judge intervened. They tried to file a motion for mistrial, and the judge is like, "Nah, we're not going to mistrial this. You say I'm biased. You say I'm interjecting. No, we're not going to do this." He denied the mistrial because the judge was interjecting on everything. But they even tried to get rid of this juror, dude. And it says, indeed, juror number 77 provided a host of details and honest answers. He answered he never has heard of Miss Carroll. The court, have you ever heard of anything on any podcast about Jean Carroll? Juror, no, this is the first time I've heard about her. He could not recall hearing any podcasts and lawsuits on sexual harassment were discussed. Have you ever heard anything on any of the podcasts about women bringing lawsuits of sexual harassment? No, not that I can think of. He discussed the scope of the media consumption in the past 6 months was extremely limited. The court. So this is a political podcast. Jurors. Sometimes, not always. Sometimes it's just certain events going on. But yeah, I haven't been in a while. But just because of work, we are not allowed to. You know the phones. The court. How often in the last 6 months have you listened?
Typo.
To the show.
Real great accuracy here, guys.
Right. Juror, let me see, 6 months. The court, more or less. About maybe 3 or 4. It's hard to say because I've been doing doubles, so I don't have time to listen to anything for longer than 5 minutes. So 3 or 4 times you listened in the last 6 months. Yeah, about. So this dude listened to 3 or 4 times in the last 6 months, about 5 minutes.
Stop. He's like the most casual. Like, I'm out here, like, listening to Tim Pool, like 30 times a week, maybe it just depends on the week, depends who he has on, or if I see clips, and then I'm like, that's interesting, let me go watch the whole show, but, he's, like, not even a casual, he's, like, every once in a blue moon, if he, like, again, he probably is, it's a, probably dependent on the topic, or a guest that he has on the show, and he's like, oh, I like that person, let me go listen. It's
ridiculous.
Clown World.
It is
now
ridiculous.
listening to Tim. Guys, I'm radicalized, okay? Because I've listened to Tim Pool for like 5 years, so I don't know what I'm capable of. Like, you got watch out, like, because you never know. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Like, oh no, I listened to Tim complain about the left. Duh. Listen to him say Civil War 3 times in a day. Like, it's just so, it's laughable. It's very laughable.
Let's see, where's the oh yeah. We were actually starting to on the super chats section for Robert there. We were having fun. We were clowning. Y'all gotta hear this. This is great.
Oh, BBC article made it seem like he did the Texas thing on Twitter. I know. The Texas guy was somehow radicalized by him on a Russian social media site found by someone not in the U.S. And now this. I'm totally with you, voice. I agree. Yeah, I thought it's ridiculous. Tim Pool's like responsible for, I think he caused COVID now that I think about it. I'm pretty sure Tim Pool's responsible for COVID, in addition to January 6th as well. Thanks, voice. I don't know what it is, but I do think it's troubling. I mean, I don't think that there is a coincidence here. You know, there's attacks on everything else. Why wouldn't they be attacking some of the strongest, biggest commentators as well? They're going after every other institution. So why wouldn't it serve them to also cause chaos in conservative media? It just makes sense. To think that they're not doing it, but they're doing everything else, like
The chat was
litigating
lighting
elections,
up at this point, with just weird things.
prosecuting political opponents, all of the other things that were without historical precedent they're now doing. Why would they also not be trying to marginalize mainstream commentators? It just seems like an obvious play, obviously. Oh yeah, Carroll says Tim Pool sunk the Titanic. And he blew up Japan?
I seen it.
So not only is Tim Pool a Nazi, he sunk the Titanic and he's responsible for the atomic bomb. He blew up all of Japan. Twice. Tim Pool did it twice.
Monster.
And until he
Absolute
disavows
monster.
that, I think,
Okay.
it's just what... He killed JFK too? All right, enough. I can't take it. Fred...
He's
So, yeah.
funny, man.
And then we went off into the debacle that was the town hall. But I just had to bring that up because I was literally in a ceiling, sweating my rear end off and laughing, almost. I was in tears at that point because we were just having fun in the chat. But yeah,
It's really funny. Just Santos, I think he's been around for like a decade, man. I think Tim Pool's been around.
Oh yeah, he's been
He's
around
for a while.
What got him really started was Occupy Wall Street. Him live streaming Occupy Wall Street, and that was what 2011, somewhere around there. Yeah, he's been around for a minute.
Yep. Yeah, facts. He absolutely decimated Lance from the Surfs. I actually want to react to that. I feel like I always feel like I'm so late. I'm so late to the game because I like have a life and children and mom things and a job and like so like by the time I get to do something, I'm like I feel like everybody's already done this. Which is I don't know, probably silly because a lot of you guys probably just want to hear my thoughts and stuff like that on a given topic. But
that was just disgusting.
I want to react to it.
That whole thing was just like, dude, it is.
He
is like the embodiment of all these abortion. It's her right kind of thing. But no, we can't do this because it kills like. You can't smoke
he was like
meth
this
because
close.
it kills the baby.
Like that was the I gotta because I do want to do a video, but he was this close. He was so close. Like it's like, and you see, and like I don't know, you could like see the cognitive dissonance just breaking his brain at the point where he was like, whoa, wait a minute.
Then they started talking about Jazz Jennings, and he's like, "This is weird." Like, no, you were trying to get out of that.
he essentially used all of the mainstream arguments, all of the progressive mainstream talking points that I see over and over and over being circulated, and there's a lot of shaming tactics and like, well, you can't talk about this because blah blah blah. It's like, no, we can actually discuss this in a pretty productive way. I think that it isn't weird. It's kind of weird that you twist it like that. But yeah.
Did you see that after show clip?
No.
Oh my God, that was great. Tim asked him. He says, let's make this YouTube friendly. If you fellatio a woman's phallus, is it homosexual? And he's like, no, it's not, because you're fellatioing a woman's phallus.
Clown world. Stop it.
Oh.
I actually did see, I saw somebody today make the argument that like, that if you as a man are attracted to a trans woman, right? So, a male who has transitioned, that if they pass, technically, like he was trying to basically say, like, I think it was a troll, but he was like, that just means you're trans attracted, not necessarily gay. And I was like, that's actually a pretty interesting way to think about it. 'Cause there is a weird kind of intermediary in there somewhere where it's like, I don't know, probably not the conversation for now, but it was just an interesting point that I was like, I haven't seen somebody make that point yet. It was kind of funny to me. It triggered conservatives, which I think was probably the troll. And because it was like a person who has a lot of conservative followers, but I don't think that they're conservative type of thing. But do we read this one from Stacy? Thanks, Stacy. Lance was so hilariously bad. Love to see you react to it since abortion is a big deal to you. Yes, it is. I go on tangents where I talk about it a whole lot, and then I get like, I can't, because people are just so ridiculous about it and callous, and it gets mentally taxing on me. So then I have to like not talk about it for a little bit. But yeah, I think it's time, because that one was a hilariously epic failure on Lance's part, which I think I heard of him like once from like the Quartering tweeting about him, or a video mentioning him. I don't know, but
no, there was a God, what was it that he went and actually did another video after the fact where he tries to say he owned him in that entire thing. And he was just like, Seamus is just a POS kind of person. And, dude, I was just like, seriously. You got destroyed that entire time, and you're going to sit there in the comfort of your own home now that nobody can say anything back to you and make that? No. Mm-hmm. There's no way.
Like, bro, like, you're the... You know what's interesting is if he actually had good arguments, they would stand up, right? And that's kind of the problem is when you really start breaking a lot of these arguments down, they all hinge on emotional appeals and just kind of like, well, I don't think it's personally morally correct, but like I shouldn't impede on what other people do. Like, no, like we do actually have to talk about where the lines are drawn in society of what is acceptable. And that's kind of the problem, is like nobody's drawing the lines, and now they're just all over zigzags and nobody knows what the hell's going on anymore.
Right. And that is coming to a problem within the so-called right now, but let me ask you a question, Ashley. Did you see the town hall?
Okay, so I couldn't watch it the night that it was on because I was doing other things, and then I actually got really I've watched quite a bit of it. I haven't watched it in entirety because I actually couldn't find just the video of it, because of course CNN didn't like add it, like they it was like they live streamed it and then just cut it and never. Yeah. But because I tried to watch Crowder's live stream of it, and he was being so absolutely irritating and annoying the entire time that I had to give up like halfway through or like a quarter of the way through or something. And so then I just started bouncing around and trying to find all the clips, and so it was a big headache. If anybody knows where I can like actually go watch it in full without somebody being annoying in the background, that'd be great.
Well, I can tell you.
Tweet it at me. What?
I'll give it to you, the whole thing right now. Badlands Media on Rumble. That's where I actually well, I recorded the whole thing. They actually do throw a little bit of fact checking in there as well, along with that. But yeah, like there was this. We just gotta. The first question. The first question. Dear God.
President Trump, thank you for your time here tonight. We got a great crowd here in New Hampshire, a lot of voters with a lot of questions about what your 2024 term would look like, what another Trump term would look like. We'll get to the voters shortly, but
by
your
the way,
polls
like
show
I
that
said,
you were
I
dominating
did
the
record this
Republican
from
race right
Badlands
now, but
Media.
you were also under active federal investigation for trying to overturn the 2020 election results. Your first term ended with a deadly riot at the Capitol, and you still have not publicly acknowledged the 2020 election results. Why should Americans put you back in the White House?
Because we did fantastically.
If that's how you're going to start, you already know full well what this is about. Like, she tried to paint the entire picture of, Orange Man bad, why should we put you back in the White House? Like, this whole thing was disgusting.
Well, you know what's really funny is so I don't know why they did this, but it's like, so you hosted a Republican candidate with a Republican or conservative, whatever, audience and base, and that's who's listening, and then you picked questions that no conservatives care about. Like, you framed it in the way that only the left cares about. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't actually, all of it is just surface level garbage about, you know, this and that and the other, and I don't know. I feel like the way that they approached it was shooting themselves in the foot, essentially, from what I have seen of it.
Well, see, that's the thing, though, with the whole, even still today, like, anybody that's moderate, anybody that's not the woke cultist things, nobody cares anymore. Nobody cares about 2020. The election, the January 6th, we all know was BS in the first place, considering how the fact you never see her and Mulvaney in the same room. Yeah, that was a thing, too. There was a lot of people in the whole thing saying that Caitlyn is Dylan Mulvaney.
I need to look at her again.
Oh, she'll come up with a smug look. You'll see it here in a bit.
Okay, all right, go. Roll the clip.
But nobody says anything anymore. You know, January 6th, especially with the Proud Boys trial, you know, 50-plus informants were found to be involved in January 6th. It's like the conspiracy theory was proven right again. Nobody cares anymore about that. But just to be the first thing you come up with as far as that goes. But let's hear how he says this.
12 million more votes than we had in, as you know, in 2016. I actually say we did far better in that election. Got the most that anybody's ever gotten as a sitting president of the United States. I think that when you look at that result and when you look at what happened during that election, unless you're a very stupid person, you see what happens. A lot of the people in this audience, and maybe a couple that don't, but most people understand what happened. That was a rigged election, and it's a shame that we had to go through it. It's very bad for our country. All over the world, they looked at it, and they saw exactly what everyone else saw. You look, even if you just look recently with the 51 intelligence agents, that made a 16-point difference. If you look at the FBI...
President.
She's going to interrupt him, but I want to hit this. 51 intelligence experts refused to apologize for discrediting true Hunter Biden's story that did change the results of the election, especially since most of the people voted for, well, not most, but there was a good portion of people that voted for Biden said if they knew about that story, that they would have changed their vote. But yeah, we'll go back to it here.
If you look at the FBI and Twitter, they call it Twitter files, made a big difference. If you look at
Mr. President, back to what you just said there, though, it was not a rigged election. It was not a stolen election. You and your supporters lost more than 60 court cases on the election. It's been nearly 2.5 years can you publicly acknowledge that you did lose the 2020 election?
Let me just go on. If you look at True the Vote, they found millions of votes on camera, on government cameras, where they were stuffing ballot boxes. So with all of that, I think it's a shame that what happened. I think it's a very sad thing for our country. I think it's a very sad thing, frankly, for the world, because if you look at what's gone to our country.
All right, so before we hit that, I do want to talk about what he was talking about with the True the Vote Breitbart article. That was what led up into the whole little 2,000 mules thing. I'm going to be honest, looking back on all of that, I think that was just ballot harvesting, which is legal in the states that they recorded that in. So I don't think anything was nefarious about that. It's the law actually does say that you can do that, you know? But yeah, we'll go back to share this tab.
Has gone to hell. Our borders are bad. Our military has been bad. You look at the taxes, you look at inflation, what's happened to inflation, it's just destroying our country. We've really become, in many ways, a third world country. And it's very sad what's happened in this administration. And it's something that will turn around on day one. We were energy independent. Now energy is at a level that we've never had to pay before. Nobody can afford to continue to pay what's happening with energy.
Right.
But we were energy independent. We were getting out of Afghanistan with strength and with dignity. And instead we got out, we looked like fools, probably the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country.
We have a lot of questions about the economy and foreign policy tonight, but what you just said.
There you go. There's your Dylan Mulvaney face.
Oh, she actually really does, though.
Maybe Dylan Mulvaney had reconstructive surgery to look like her.
Probably. But facts. Okay, I'm running with that. That's my new conspiracy theory. Okay.
Until they're in the same place, that's what I'm going with. And even then, it's a deep fake if they do wind up together in the same room.
You know what's interesting about this whole thing is that I was watching somebody's analysis. I cannot remember who, because I watched a couple of them. But like, somebody brought up that instead of her coming prepared with like video clips of like things that Trump has said, or like, you know what I mean? Like, it's all just, well, no, that's not true, or no, but she doesn't actually prove it. No. She just goes with like this CNN talking points. And if you actually, and I thought it was a very astute observation, because if you actually were to come prepared, then you would have the evidence on your side, so to speak. But instead, he's the one who like whips out the receipts. And I just think it was a hilariously epic fail by CNN's part to even approach this from a, I don't know, intelligent way, if you actually want to combat what he's saying, you know? Because he just does what he does. Like, he just goes on and he says a bunch of stuff, and he embellishes a bunch of stuff, and you know, that's what he does, and everybody knows it. So why would you be surprised by it or taken aback or anything like that?
Shout out to Badlands Media for this. I just want you all to see this at the bottom here. It says, breaking news. Trump. Only stupid people think the election wasn't rigged. Collins. The election wasn't rigged.
That's funny. Very funny.
But yeah, let's see. There was like, the first thing is just like, why should we put you back in the White House? And the second question is, why won't you go through the election, or why won't you say the election wasn't rigged or something like that? Like, they brought it up the entire time. And it was just disgusting the way they tried so hard. But yeah, you're right. She didn't say anything other than, no, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. And this Badlands Media here, like, there was, let's see, of course, the Breitbart article with the 2020 thing. There was this one that I found as well. They say Trump calls for the termination of the Constitution. In his little truth that he said, So with the revelation of massive and widespread fraud and deception, and working closely with big tech companies, the DNC, and the Democratic Party, do you throw the presidential election results of 2020 out and declare the rightful winner, or do you have a new election? A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Our great founders did not want and would not condone false and fraudulent elections. See, here's the thing. The way he put that, they could sit there and say, oh, well, he was calling. No. He was saying, if this continues, the Constitution is null and void. We need to stop this. That's what the whole thing was about.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like what frustrates me the most about Trump is he'll say something and he won't frame it well, and then the media just does what the media does and jumps all over him, and then he spends a lot of time, like, you know, sort of not really backtracking, but like,
right,
trying to justify what he said, essentially. And I'm just so sick of Trump at this point. Like, what I'm really sick of is because now we've heard nothing but Trump for 6 years. And hello, I was one of the people who screamed about it in 2015. So, like, the irony is not lost upon me. But after coming out of my Trump derangement syndrome successfully and recovered and all of that, now I'm just sick of hearing about him from the opposite view. Because now we're just, for the next 2 years, this is all Trump, like he's gonna, and it's just so exhausting.
I mean, like I said back then, you know, it's when Trump said he was going to run again, I was just like, we're going to go back into the same thing over and over again. It's going to be the exact same situation yet again. We're going to go back into the whole 2016 through 2020 shit, and everybody's just going to lose their mind yet again. And we're already seeing it. And, you know, the fact that...
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, the fact that she was just like, you know, it's... What was she saying? She was trying to talk about how even his own people were saying that he never... What was it? Something about never gave them the right to... Or he never authorized the military, the National Guard.
Yeah.
January 4th, 2021. This memorandum responds to you on January 4th, 2021. Memorandum regarding District of Columbia request for District of Columbia National Guard support in response planned demonstrations for January 5th to 6th, 2021. You are authorized to approve the requested support subject to my guidance below and subject consultation with the Attorney General as required by Executive Order 11485. Signed, Christopher Miller. Yes, it was authorized. And yes, per this article right here from, what is it, NPR? Per this article right here, it was Nancy Pelosi and Muriel Bowser that denied it. Ultimately denied. They said they wanted a light police presence. They denied the National Guard because of optics. Now, let's all not forget that Nancy Pelosi the next day went to the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying that, I'm not going to subscribe here, but it is in the Wall Street Journal here. It's a coup with Pelosi's own. If you want to look that up, go ahead. But in that, she says that she went to the Joint Chiefs of Staff the next day and said that Trump is crazy and don't listen to him. We need to take away his nuclear capability. And the Joint Chiefs of Staff and looked at her and said, ma'am, if we do not listen to the president, that would be tantamount to a military coup. Now, before all that, what was she yelling for months? Trump was going to try a military coup. She committed one herself.
That is interesting, isn't it?
Yep. But yeah, but throughout that entire thing, though. It was ridiculous the amount of time she tried to cut him off. And yes, he did say you are a very nasty person, but all she was saying is, no, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. I can't let you speak. No, you're wrong.
Well, because, okay, so I thought that was it's just a low blow from him, which that's his thing, you know, I get it. But, like, she got a little snippy because he was being Trumpy. So she got a little snippy and was like, no, I asked the question because I want you to answer it. And like, so it's the pointless back and forth of like, it's a power move, you know what I mean? It's a passive aggressive way to try to control the conversation. And they're both doing it. And so like when she gets snippy, then he's like, oh, you're nasty. And everybody claps and applauses. It's like, why is that? I'm sorry. I'm just at the point where I'm sick of just, I don't know, people unwilling and unable to conduct themselves in even a semi-professional manner when they're like you were.
I mean, when you're on the world
president.
stage, yes.
It really bothers me actually, and the way that, and that's not just like about Trump. That's about literally all of our politicians and the way that they conduct themselves even online. It's no wonder, you know, the average person, you know, struggles to conduct themselves with integrity in the social media atmosphere, just because like the people who are essentially, you know, at the forefront of running the country can't even do that. Really irritates me.
I mean, you say he was being Trump and being snippy himself, but when you start off a conversation being snippy and just trying to destroy right from the start, okay, you've done this, you've done this, you've done this, why should we put you back in the White House instead of talking about anything good that he did? Yeah, I'd start off the conversation just being like, you're a horrible person. What about this? You know?
Well, what does that add to the conversation?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Absolutely
so
nothing.
What's the
but
point?
You gave Trump his win with that because you put him in his element immediately.
Yeah, but well, like that's the thing is she should have just she shouldn't have gotten snippy either, right? No. Because then it wouldn't have given him ammo, and that's the thing is like, but it just irritates me that calling somebody a nasty person gets you a round of applause. Like it shouldn't. I don't think so. It's the whole.
I mean, the whole point of the town hall was for him to talk to the people that were in the audience. There was only 3 questions from the audience, and the rest of the time was her saying, "No, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong."
True that, but do you think that she's actually like? Do you think she sat down and wrote all of those questions and planned all of that herself, or do you think that it was, you know, she's just a talking piece for CNN? Because that's
she's a talking head. Because I guarantee you, she didn't write any of that. As a matter of fact, they were in her head because they never go to commercials for town halls and things like that. That's like an hour and a half long, just straight. There's no commercials. And the fact that they did go to commercials was them in the background saying, he's doing too good. Shut it down. Shut it down. They're cheering for him. They're liking what he's saying. We can't do this. I mean, she embarrassed CNN. She embarrassed herself. And she gave Trump just like a steamroll victory. Just because she wanted to fight. And that's all that was.
Yeah, I just really wonder how much, you know, I don't really, I think if anything, they probably came up with a bunch of things to ask and then probably really harped on, probably she was prompted through an earpiece for sure. Probably. But they probably, you know, CNN probably really harped on like, don't let him get away with this, or don't let him steamroll you, or blah, blah, blah. And he did it anyway, because he's going to. Because you have to be incredibly assertive if you're dealing with somebody like Donald Trump. And I don't think, I honestly think they should have probably put a man up as well, because of how Trump is. Because of how, like, he will, you know, I don't know. I just think it would have been better. I think if they would have put another very highly assertive man instead of a woman, I think it would have gone maybe better for CNN almost.
I mean, I don't know who they got? Anderson Cooper?
Yeah, I guess.
He would have done the same thing.
Well, what's interesting, it's an interesting dynamic because what ends up happening is that, Trump saying, oh, you're a nasty person, just to her, well, then the left can cry, misogyny, misogyny, misogyny. And that's actually a purposeful thing. Yeah, no, I know. But like to them, like to the leftist brain, that's what it is. Instead of just the fact of he's just going to say this to anyone who's asking. It doesn't, we should let AI matter. Please, actually, like, let's do that. We were just complaining about AI, but like, come on, let's, I don't know. I think all of these town halls, all the debates, what really irritates me about all of it is it's not even actually based on merit anymore or policy. It's all like, with Trump, it's all just a laundry list of all the essentially lies that the left comes up with. But there's like some elements of truth in some of that, and I don't know. I've seen conservatives criticize Trump in a really good way before, but I just hate how everything is framed now.
There is a lot you can criticize the man for. There is a lot of valid things you can criticize him for, especially shooting the rockets into, what was it? I think it was Syria, for absolutely no reasons at the very beginning of his presidency. Like, dude, what'd you do that for? Other than the fact that you were told to, what has Syria ever done to provoke us in any way? There's a lot you can criticize the man for, but what they criticize him for is absolutely nothing. The only thing they criticize him for is the things that they have done themselves. The things that they were concocting, the things that they came up with. And it's just like, people are starting to realize that. And it's not a left or right thing. Everybody's starting to see that now.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people forget that Trump was the head of the vax.
Yep. And he pushed it.
Mm-hmm.
He pushed it once it came out. Yeah.
Yeah, and he still will. And because to him that's like a win, when in reality, and a big problem. Okay, because so I'm seeing. I don't know if have you seen? Oh, you haven't because you're not on freaking Twitter. You need to get on Twitter, okay? Because I should probably just start sending you the funny stuff I see, but I see so much of it. So
I can see things on Twitter. I just can't do anything on Twitter.
Well, just make a new account, bro.
I don't know. I mean, with the whole the new CEO being the WEF woman.
Oh yeah, that stuff is crazy. I need to look more into that because I found that out and I was like, why would you do this? Why? And then I had the thought of like, this is like punishment because everyone voted Elon Musk out of CEO position. It's like, all right, well, if you voted no, I'm going to make your life hell. I really feel like that's it might be a move. But anyway, they ended it 20 minutes early because she looked so bad. All Trump did was answer the questions. Think about it. She was a nasty person. It wasn't supposed to be a debate, and he's much. But why was she a nasty person? Like, I'm genuinely
because
asking
all
that.
she
Why?
wanted to do was argue, and yes, he is correct. They did cut the debate 20 minutes early because everybody in the crowd was for him. Now, they did have people that were independent. They did have people that voted for him. They did have people that voted against him. But every single person in that audience was clapping and cheering for him every bit of the way.
Yeah,
and that's
for
why
sure.
they did that.
Yeah, I don't think you can sit here and call her as a person a nasty person or a horrible person or whatever. She's a voice piece for CNN, which I mean, maybe that's the argument there, but I don't think that her asking questions and saying things that that a leftist organization like CNN, in this case, nasty equals rude, and she was. Well, he was rude. So by that logic, he's nasty. You know what I mean? I just don't like the...
he's always been, though. I mean,
it's just
like I said,
irritates
though,
me.
Like I said, I keep coming back to that argument. There is a difference between the way a man and a woman can argue. She argued the way a man does, and look what everybody thinks of her. Trump argued the way a man does, and everybody's like, hell yeah, he won.
I don't even think she argued like a man, though. I think she...
The whole thing
I think she was actually
wrong,
pretty
you're wrong.
meek.
She didn't bring anything up. It was just...
Yeah,
if
so
she
that's arguing like a man?
No, yeah, well...
Not providing evidence?
Touche. I'll give you that one.
Sorry, I had to.
But yeah,
I had to point that out. If anything,
Even
that's more like a woman. Anyway, go ahead.
The last part of that, what was it? I think I'm. What is it? Is it this part?
Not really. I would have the right to. By the way, they would
What do you mean
declassify.
not?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exact sense. That's not.
He brings up the whole. She brings up the whole document things, and he talks about
With the Corvette,
Obama.
where the documents were laying all over the floor. That was fine. And you know who happens to be at Mar-a-Lago? Secret Service, and they're phenomenal. I have Secret Service. He didn't have Secret Service. The other thing, the vice president cannot declassify. He didn't have the right to declassify. He has documents from when he was a senator. And even Democrat senators say, I can't believe it. No, I went by the Presidential Records Act,
That's not
and
what
we
the
were
Presidential
negotiating
Records
with
Act
NARA.
says. That's not what it says.
And
Mr.
NARA has
President.
red flagged a thing called the Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights because they consider them
Mr.
dangerous
President, that's not what it
documents.
says,
Those are
and
the
I
people
should
we're
note.
dealing
And I should note that there is a special counsel investigating your document situation, also President Biden's document situation. When it comes to your documents, did you ever show those classified documents to anyone?
Not really. I would have the right to. By the way, they were
What do you mean, not
declassified
really?
after.
By the way, his argument of
This is really funny though. Not really.
his argument of declassification is actually valid. He was in the process with NARA of declassifying them.
Yeah.
And yes, Obama did take records. That will show up at the bottom of the
Not
video.
that I can
here.
think of.
Watch this.
Let me just tell you, I have the absolute right to do whatever I want with them. I have the right. I was negotiating with NARA. Do you know what NARA is?
The National Archives.
Extremely,
But you don't
extremely
negotiate
left group
with
of
them.
people. Extremely left. And I was negotiating with
They're
them.
No. You want to see how nasty she was?
National Archives.
Extremely,
But you don't
extremely
negotiate
left group
with
of
them.
people. Extremely left.
You see that face? If somebody were making that face in an entire conversation with you, that was the face she made every time he opened his mouth.
Yeah, because, obviously she don't like him. Because she's works at CNN, bro. I don't know. I think,
But yeah,
I don't think that it does much to any argument to just say, well, she's just a nasty person, so there. I think it's a very childish thing. I think that, again, I'm just in a place where I'm just sick of some of the most important people within our government and within our media just having zero integrity and zero want to even conduct themselves accordingly and to try to, I don't know. I don't like how, I don't know, for lack of a better term, nasty everything has gotten, obviously. And it's a big reason why we're so divided as well, because people make it personal instead of just being about the topics or the, arguments. And I think that's a big problem within our society currently.
Met, it's 33,000, but yes, right there at the bottom of the screen. From CNN themselves on 2016, November 1st, 2016, White House starts moving Obama's records to Chicago. What he was going to do was he was supposed to digitize all those records and never did. They are still classified to this day. So yes. But yeah, I want to move into the end of that thing, the whole Ukraine situation. That was horribly stupid of her in every way.
Rigged. And if this call was bad, why didn't him and his lawyers hang up? How dare you say that? This was a perfect
They were
phone
clearly
call.
concerned enough. They recorded the call for President Trump tonight.
Interference.
Let's see, where
They
is it?
think because I'm leading
Caitlin
Biden by
Collins is a
11
nasty
points,
woman.
7 points, 9 points. I'm leading DeSanctimonious by a lot disaster.
Where is
And
this?
by the way,
Accepting the results of the election regardless of the outcome.
you want me to
yeah.
answer it again? If I think it's an honest election, I would be honored to. And
I'm going to go back a
You're
little bit.
running in the 2024 race. If you are the Republican nominee and you are in that 2024 race, will you commit tonight to accepting the results of the 2024 election?
yeah, if I think it's an honest election, absolutely, I would.
Will you commit to accepting the results of the election regardless of the outcome?
You want me to answer it again? If I think it's an honest election, I would be honored to. And right now, we are so far ahead of both Democrat and Republican. And you know what? If I don't win, this country is going to be in big trouble. It's so sad to see what's happening.
But no commitment there on the accepting the results regardless of the outcome.
If it's an honest election, correct. I will.
Okay, so not.
What?
Yeah, so she tries to pigeonhole him. Either agree that you'll accept whatever results, no matter the events surrounding them in the next election, or it's a way to try to, I don't know, catch him in something or back him into a corner, which
Just
is
like she
a
did
waste
with
of
the
time because you
Ukraine.
should have known that was going to be the answer.
Yeah. Just like she did with the Ukraine situation where she was like, which side do you want to win? He's like, I don't want any side to win. I just want them to stop dying. And she's like, oh, you don't want Ukraine to win. Which side do you want to win? It's telling the way they're doing this shit. And she just embarrassed not only CNN, she embarrassed not only herself, she embarrassed the entire country with how she did that, because that was broadcast to the world. So the world, not knowing what's going on in our country, not knowing how everything is happening, the world is like, these are some stupid ass people.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Well, it's she actually perfectly demonstrates the black and white thinking that is a big problem, particularly on the left. It's a problem everywhere, right? Like everyone has a the tendency or proclivity to fall into black and white thinking. It can be easy to do, but the left does it a whole lot. So one of those things.
Yeah, the right's starting to do it now too. But
yeah, it's fun.
We'll get into that here in a second. Let's go ahead and wrap up with this a little
Anderson,
bit.
8 people were with. They were in the audience. What they also have in common is none of them have voted in the past for either Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton. 6 of them voted for Donald Trump in the past. 1 didn't vote in the past 2 elections. 1 was too young to vote. But that's what they have in common, that most of them are Trump supporters. What I want to ask you first of all is, do you think, show of hands, anybody think Donald Trump looks better after this town hall? Any of you think he looks worse? Any of you think the same thing about him as you did when you walked in? So all of you feel that way. First thing I want to ask you about, Donald Trump, we have to be blunt about it, is not a truth teller. That's the way he's always been when he was a businessman, he's been a politician. He has lied about the 2020 election, stuffed ballot boxes, it's all made up. He's lost dozens of court cases. Does it bother you that he keeps talking about 2020 and not 2024? I'll ask you first. This is Jonathan Leslie. He's 40, Republican, voted for Trump twice. How do you feel about those lies?
So I feel like part of it's also the media narrative, as you guys asked him the first question at the town hall about the 2020 election, rather than current stuff.
So don't you think he could say it's time for me to start talking about 2024 and not lies that aren't true?
Couldn't the media ask him a question about 2024?
Well, there were questions, but you're right. That was the first thing, but that's something that was on our mind. And that's why I was asked first. Mike McLaughlin, he's 21. He is undeclared, which is what you do in New Hampshire if you want to be independent. He voted for Trump in 2020. Mike, same thing to you. What do you feel about Trump continuing to talk about those mistruths from 2020?
Personally, I'm getting tired of...
I'm getting tired of the way they try to frame these questions every single time. Like, he comes out, okay, let's just be honest. Trump's a liar, Trump's a liar, Trump's a liar. How do you feel about it?
Yeah. No.
You give room for any real conversation when you do that.
It's extremely leading questions. I want to lead you down this road to say the thing that I want you to say. So I'm going to frame this question in a very specific way, and hope it works.
Right. But yeah, let's just continue, because this is actually a little bit telling in this whole situation about people who are actually talking about voting for Biden. And I'm going to let this play. I'll be right back here in a second.
Hearing about it, I'm very much more so interested in the problems that we face now, and I would prefer to hear him discuss the present issues more so than going to the past.
65-year-old Stephen Farnsworth, Republican, voted for Trump twice. Your opinion about that?
Well, I think that he's committed to it. That's what he feels. That's what he thinks.
Well, do you think he thinks that, or do you think he just keeps saying it to try to will it for people like you to believe it?
I think he actually thinks it.
You do?
No, he may.
Even though he keeps losing in the courts over and over again.
He does say what's on his mind.
Okay. Do you think so? That it was a rigged election?
I'll abstain.
You'll abstain? Okay. All right, the next person on our list, 64-year-old, and you don't mind me saying your age, Cindy Owning, do you?
Not at all.
Okay, we were joking about that
For at least
before.
one more month.
Yeah, she's a Republican. She didn't vote in the past 2 presidential elections. How come you didn't vote, A, and B?
I'm gonna pause it right there and say, the whole "I'll abstain." What have we heard from the left? If you don't incriminate yourself, you're guilty.
Dude, I feel like this guy's like bullying these people. Like,
he damn sure is.
Like he interrupted that other guy like 4 or 5 times within just a few seconds. It's outright manipulation, like sleazy lawyers and snake oil salesmen. Yeah.
He damn sure is. He only makes them say one particular thing with the way he frames the questions, with the way he asks them. It's not open-ended. It doesn't give you a chance to say what you really think, because if you say what you really think, you're not answering his question.
Well, and the whole, for people like you to believe him, like, I'm sorry, sir, that's pretty disrespectful, in my opinion, when you're directly talking to an individual, to essentially just say, you're just too dumb to figure this out, sir. Like,
yeah,
come on.
That's exactly the way it was played out with him.
Yep.
What do you feel about the continuation of these lies about 2020?
You know, I don't know what's a lie anymore, but I think there needs to be a new narrative.
And what's the new narrative?
Current situations that are, involving all of us.
Current situations. But when you say you don't know what's a lie is a lie. I mean, all these courts...
A lie is a lie, just like what press is supposed to hold their leaders to account in balanced way people's behalf, but sadly has gone from yes. Why do you think the mainstream media is failing? CNN, even MSNBC, Fox News, since they got rid of Tucker Carlson, has dropped so hard that even Tim Pool is beating them out now.
Yeah, well, and like, it's so frustrating to me because there's this inability to criticize, like, especially on the left. They're just completely unable to criticize anyone on their own side. And that means also with the media. And it's so frustrating to me, all of the things that have come out about Biden. And I would argue most people on the left have no idea or they think it's all lies and propaganda, when in reality they're being fed propaganda, right from their media sources. And it's just very frustrating.
And even if you show them 100% undeniable proof that they are, they're just like, well, I don't believe you. That's Russian propaganda.
They're just
what
unable
the fuck
to
does
look...
Russia have to do with any of this?
Well, they're just unable. It's just, fucking Russiagate. They're unable to. What was my point? I was gonna say something. It just evaporated from my brain. But they're unable. They're unable to look at anything objectively. So like that's kind of the problem. It's what I went through in my political shift, right? So I went from viewing everything through like an emotional lens to like, okay, I need to come back to a place of objectivity and be able to look at a situation without immediately jumping to emotional reactions about it. I need to kind of analyze what's happening here and, approach it genuinely. And I think that's just the biggest problem is people are just unable to separate their emotions from being able to view a particular situation and kind of look at it in a balanced way, or be willing to look at it from a different perspective.
Well, I mean, it's the truth doesn't matter to most people anymore. It's the accusation that matters. It's the accusation that comes out first. Kind of like that football player who was accused of doing a situation with a woman, and then he went to jail for it, but it came out later that never happened. And yet everybody still thinks he's this abuser. And they don't know anything because they don't follow through. It's the accusation that matters. When somebody throws an accusation, that's it. End game right there.
Yeah, and it's actually a huge problem in the reverse sense, too, of like it actually takes away from when somebody makes a reputable accusation or actually is experiencing or has experienced something absolutely horrible at the hands of another person. Then now we're in this situation where it's happened so, like, the false accusations have happened so many times, and like narratives are just kind of slung about so freely that people now approach pretty much everything with a lot of skepticism. And I think it actually hurts people. It hurts real victims. It hurts people who've actually gone through horrific things at the hands of powerful people. And that's what frustrates me the most is just that it completely discredits actual claims.
Right. All right. So, hold on 1 second. I mean, we're coming up close to the time where we do need to do a hard stop here. Let's just go ahead and finish this off real quick.
There's one of the stuffed ballot things he's talking about was in Fulton County, Georgia. No stuffed ballots. I was there. I was watching with my own eyes. I mean, none of it's true. And I think a lot of people think he tries to will it to be true. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. In that corner right there, that's Noel Licata. He's 18. First election coming up. He's currently undeclared, but leaning Republican. What do you feel about him still talking about 2020 and these things?
I don't think anybody wants to hear about 2020 at this point. Everybody wants to hear about 2024, the future, and what comes after that. And he did not talk enough about that tonight.
Alyssa Malloy. Alyssa's 37. She's a registered Republican, voted for Trump twice. Your feeling about this?
I think it's time to move on from the election, the 2020 election.
Do his fibs offend you?
I think he truly believes it.
You do too?
I think that's what he truly believes. I think a lot of his supporters believe it. Not all of them, but there are a lot of people who do believe it, and he tries to, go along with that, and I would agree that he wills it to be true.
Let me ask 22-year-old Cooper Walsh, who is also undeclared but voted for Trump in 2020. Do you think Trump believes that stuff?
I definitely do think he believes it. I think he's very passionate about it.
I'm going to lower that real quick, and I want to hit this. They made the Marine the criminal rather than the criminal itself. Yes. And they also threw a homeless man in prison for taking a crap on a pride flag.
I think we should be talking about more of the other issues that the questions had in the audience.
Same city.
Karen Olson, who's 56. She's undeclared, not registered Republican or Democrat, but voted for Trump twice. Wouldn't it be good if he would just say, I'm ready to move on. It's 2024. I'm going to stop lying. I'm going to be honest about it and move on. Wouldn't that be helpful? And then the news media wouldn't ask him about it if he would acknowledge it.
I'd like him to move on. I would like him to stop talking about it, but it is his opinion. So you have to attach that caveat. You got lie all the time. It just keeps it going. So it's his opinion, and he has a right to have it.
All right, just yesterday, a 9-member jury found Donald Trump liable for sexual abuse. And he's continuing to mock Jean Carroll, this woman who was sexually abused, according to this jury. He also says...
This right here is incredibly telling, and I want you all to listen to every single one of these answers here, because he only has some women in this. But I want you to listen to this, because every single one of them says, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't follow any of this.
That was rigged. This not only is a jury of his peers, he's a New Yorker. He may live in Mar-a-Lago right now, that mansion in Palm Beach, Florida, but he was born and raised in Queens, New York, wanted to make it big with his father in Manhattan, did. He's a New Yorker. This was truly a jury of his peers. How does it make you feel that he's still making fun of this woman? I'm going to ask the women that question.
It's uncomfortable. It's definitely uncomfortable, and I just don't know what to think anymore.
How do you feel about that?
It makes me uncomfortable. I haven't followed it too closely, so I
agreed.
I don't feel like I have a strong opinion.
And how do you feel? I mean, this was a jury. These jurors weren't told, you have to say this. This is our system in the United States of America. This is an amazing system. It's not a perfect system, but it is an amazing system, particularly compared to lots of other countries. They agreed on this. And here he is at this town hall today. I've never met her before, and making fun of her. How does that make you feel as a woman?
I didn't really care.
Why didn't you care?
I don't know enough about the case. Women can be victims of abuse. Women can also make up stories. I mean, we see it all the time. So I don't know. All of these situations where people are coming out 20, 30 years later, I don't listen to it.
Well, one more question for you. Mike Pence, he said regarding January 6th.
I love those answers. I love them all. The first one was like, I don't know what to think anymore, because, it's, the whole thing was the whole trial. You go back and watch Robert Gouveia's like 3, 4 5 maybe lives that he did, and you will see throughout that entire thing how messed up that trial was. And it's like the judge literally just tried to throw the entire case in her favor. The woman literally lied on the stand. She said that since the incident that she's never had any kind of adult relations again. And then the next line of questioning says that she was still having adult relations with her ex-husband after they got divorced. No lie. I mean, that was in there.
I don't know. The whole thing is frustrating, and I think Trump just makes himself look worse when he does that kind of thing, and I think that he views it as, oh, well, I didn't do this. You know, he's saying he didn't do this, so everyone's just going to kind of laugh about it. I just don't like the whole, oh, I'm just going to make fun of you and I'm going to kind of like heckle you. And it's not productive. It's not productive. You're just being an ass. And I mean, Trump is an ass. He's arrogant and that's
100%.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people do kind of like him, because he just says what he thinks and doesn't really care. But I don't actually like that in a president. I want somebody to say what they think, right? But I want somebody to actually care about the ramifications of what they're saying and how it impactful it might be and all of those things. I want somebody to have a bit more forethought, I guess I would say. But again, just integrity.
100% agree with you on that. My entire life, I've hated him. Mm-hmm. I have hated that man. He has always been a narcissistic, arrogant ass.
Yeah.
Everything he does is that. Everything he does, everybody loves me. Everybody worships me. And they kind of did.
Well, there definitely is a cult following.
Yes, and that's kind of the problem that we were. How about this, Ashley? Let's do this. Can we? Hold on 1 second. I gotta cough again. Can we sit down one night, just me and you? Let's record the conversation that we were talking about, and we'll put it up on Rumble only.
Okay. That sounds good.
We'll work out the time. We'll just have it. We'll just record it and just have the conversation. We'll put it up on Rumble only because it is an actual problem that both of us are actually seeing now. And pretty much most people are guilty of this. But yeah.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so people still say stupid-ish, like Trump is Jesus and stuff like that. Literally Bible thumping about Trump. You know what's so funny?
Yes.
Is I've seen like images, like artwork that people have made, or like AI art of like Trump like on a cross, like he's Jesus, and like all of these crazy things. I'm like, isn't this like blasphemy? Like, wouldn't that be like a big no-no for religious people to quite literally compare Trump to Jesus in such a way?
Thou shalt not have no other gods before me, but yet there is a holy trinity, and yet people worship Jesus before God. Now people try to make up the whole thing like Jesus is God. No, Jesus is the Son of God. There is a difference. If it were the same damn person, it would be the holy singularity.
Well, I don't know. It confuses me, which we're going to have. I'm in the midst of scheduling a religious talk with somebody who is religious, and I am not religious, obviously, as you guys know. So hopefully that'll work out and it'll be cool and interesting. But I think it's so strange that people are making these associations and trying so hard to be like Trump is like king and Trump is amazing and Trump is a man of God and all. I'm like, I'm sorry, how is this man a man of God? Like he's not had a functioning family unit in ever. Like he's gotten divorced multiple times. He has gone and picked up his brides after they came straight out of the mail order, you know, quote unquote. And I just don't.
Yeah.
I just don't think that you can sit here and say that Trump actually has like conservative values. He is, you know, upholding certain conservative values in the way that he is approaching things, and his policies are definitely, you know, obviously more. Sorry, I'm like struggling to find the word.
Trump is the new conservative. The Overton window has shifted so far that Trump is the new conservative. He is still democratic in nature. He is still a liberal. He is still that kind of person, but everybody thinks he's so conservative because they've forgotten what conservatism is.
Well,
and the right is now, seriously, anybody that's not woke. The right is now everybody against this cult-like mantra that's going on. So there's so many voices. That's why you see so much infighting, and the infighting as is actually needed. Do not get me wrong, because without that, you wouldn't find people like Eliza Blue. You wouldn't find people like Jack Murphy. You wouldn't find people like Elijah Schaffer. You wouldn't find any of those people if there was not infighting going on to point out these people who were just wolf in sheep's clothing kind of situation for your side. Now, me, honestly, I'm neither right nor left. I'm independent. I'm pretty much in the middle. The only reason I lean right now is because that window has shifted. The only thing I've changed is my views on abortion, and that's it.
Yeah.
10 years ago, I was a liberal.
Kudos to that. But I think it is interesting in how people view Trump and how people view conservatism and liberalism in general, because there was a time not very long ago where there wasn't a huge difference, honestly, between liberals and conservatives in the way that they operated. Like, they were there, at the very least, they were much closer than they were farther apart, and they usually shared common principles and values like faith, family, the idea of wanting small government, and all of those things. And so it's really interesting now that we're so divided, and that, like you said, basically anyone who isn't, woke is considered like a right wing extremist, which is pretty funny. Like, I get called a right wing extremist all the time, and I'm like, bro, like, people who are conservative don't like me. Like, there's people who do not like me, and they're conservative because I have purple hair. Like, you're funny. Like, you're really funny. But
and
anyway,
that's it. That's the only reason, is because you dye your hair.
Yeah, well, some people, because I'll argue with, not argue in a bad way, but I'll go back and forth with people about religion and stuff like that, because I do have questions, and I do push back, and I'm just one of those people. I'm like, yeah, you can have your beliefs and your views, and if that's really important and meaningful to you and important in your life, go for it. But I don't like people who try to like push it onto me. Like, if I ever do believe in God, then that's something that I will go through in my own journey. It's not something that, like, I've had people message me like, you need to find Jesus, and you need to do this, and what if you die tomorrow, and like, you need. I'm like, my friend, this is not a way to get me to come around to your way of thinking if I ever do.
Nope.
And it's just one of those things. People, I don't know. I think it also kind of poses the question of, how do you get people to change their minds? Well, you don't. They have to.
You know what I think we should do one time? I think we should have Gothics on. Let's have that conversation with her. I'm pretty sure she's going to be up for it.
We'll talk. We'll talk, because I haven't told you about the thing. Anyway.
Okay.
God damn it, man.
Oh.
We'll talk about it after the show. But yeah.
But yeah. All right. So all right, ladies and gentlemen, we do have to do a hard stop here. We were supposed to talk about a problem, but we'll figure out a time to sit down, and me and Ashley have to actually have a conversation about a problem we are seeing. It will be recorded, and we will put it up on Rumble only. And it's kind of disturbing. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to hate it. But we do have to have that conversation.
Yeah, probably. I'm gonna push back on this. I see Christianity as a fear-based cult under the guise of love and concern. I'm gonna disagree with you on that one, because I think there's a lot of people who definitely misuse religion. There's a lot of really good people who do not misuse their religion, and they only apply it to their own life. The problem is when you do have cults who are taking pieces and parts of religion or distorting it, and that's the inherent flaw with religion, just as the inherent flaw with the lack of objective morality leads people to do horrible things. You can believe in the sense of objective reality and still do horrible things, or objective morality and still do horrible things. It's just depending on how you're utilizing the tool that you are given, essentially. But that being said, I'm very critical of religion in many senses, but I don't think that it's all a cult. I think that there are just cults that exist that use religion as a means to control people. Boom. Sorry, I have to push back sometimes when I see stuff like that. So.
But ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and, if you are on Rumble, even if you're not on Rumble, go over to Rumble right now, sign up for it, create an account. Look for Off Label Podcast. We're the only one with that name over there. You'll be able to find us easily enough. We usually do segments like this. Has been broadcast the entire time on all channels. We usually do Rumble only segments, but tonight we do have a hard stop that's going on right here. We've been going over a little bit here. But me and Ashley are going to sit down and we're going to have a conversation that needs to be had. And it is a problem. Some of you are not going to like what we've got to say. I guarantee that. But hear us out on the whole thing. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, we do have to do a little hard stop on all of this. You got anything left, Ashley?
Just to say that I think it is crucial that we criticize every side, including our own, in every situation. You criticize, or challenge yourself as well. I think that's something that's it's so crucial, man. And it's so important to get away from the groupthink and the cult-like mentality, and that can form pretty much anywhere, in my opinion. But I will say, on your way out, please like the video and share and subscribe if you're not subscribed, and do all of the things. We really do appreciate it. It really does help us out. Thank you so much for everybody who joined in and has been watching. Really does mean a lot. And go subscribe to the Off Label Podcast channel if you're not watching on there currently. I think soon we'll probably just start streaming to there directly. So you definitely want to we've kind of just been doing this as a way to be like, hey, like, this is our new show and we're trying to start this and we're trying to get a handle on things too and just figure it out. So go subscribe over there and you can join us right now every Saturday. We might change that in the future with summer coming up, but we'll see.
Right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave you with this. I'm scared of AI. I always have been. It's infinitely faster and better than humankind's because we have determined it to be that way. With Kamala Harris at the head of it, I hear you furiously typing. With Kamala Harris at the head of it, it scares the ever-living crap out of me even more. The town hall, look, let's just be honest. At this point in time, I hate Trump. I really do. He's a narcissistic POS in my book. But considering who they're throwing up, what other choice do I have at this point? And everything that's been considered here, I do understand why everybody starts listening to podcasts, starts listening to other voices, because the mainstream is just crap, and I appreciate every single one of you that follow along, that do your own thing, that push back against us, things like that. It's great. This is what we need. This is what we want, and there is a conversation that will be on Rumble only that me and Ashley do need to have to kind of point out a situation that we have been seeing. But right now, we're going to have to end this. Huh?
I said I saw it first.
Oh, you did. You did, and I was just like, no. And then I started.
Can't believe me.
you put that seed in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we got a little situation that's kind of brewing up here that we're going to point out, and hopefully can start to try to cut it off at the pass before it becomes a major thing. But it's all about the pendulum swinging, like we've been talking about. But I'm going to go ahead and leave you out with this. The mainstream narrative has become cancerous to society. Currently, there is no known cure, but doses of other treatments have shown promising results. Off-label use has been authorized. Y'all have a good night, and we'll see y'all again very soon.
Bye.